Joining us now to discuss Democratic Senator Chris Coons of Delaware, who sits on the Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, thank you so much for being here in the arena. I want to first start with that reporting that Zach just laid out there about the level to which these stockpiles have been depleted. What are the implications in your view?
Well, Kasie, thanks for a chance to be on again. The implications of a real challenge to what's called our magazine depth, or the number of our precision strike missiles and our interceptors, is that it weakens the United States. It weakens our hand in being prepared to defend our treaty allies in the Western Pacific, to defend our homeland, and to defend our critical allies and partners in Europe and the Middle East. This is not a new problem. We have had challenges with procuring these expensive, exquisite munitions for a long time. Last year's appropriations bill, where I'm the senior Democrat for defense appropriations, we authorized multi-year procurement of several key munitions and moved billions of dollars into those lines. Frankly, when the president chose to launch a war of choice more than 5 months ago in the Middle East, one of the challenges I am certain that his senior military advisors briefed him on was that the Iranians were going to launch thousands of cheap, lethal drones at our facilities, our bases, our embassies, and our allies and partners, and we would use incredibly expensive, exquisite, and rare munitions to intercept them or to defend against them with counterstrikes. So this is a challenge we have faced for some time. Countries like Iran have learned how to make drones that cost relatively little, and we are still using very expensive munitions to stop them.
I want to also get your reaction to some of the events that have been unfolding in the last 24 hours around the Attorney General nominee, Todd Blanche. So Senators Tom Tillis and John Cornyn were, of course, holding this up. It is now through the committee. I want to play for you what your colleague, Senator Cornyn, said today about why, and we'll talk about it. Watch.
Given this agreement with Mr. Blanche, I expect the department to live up to this in future litigation, and I will vote to advance him out of the committee today.
It's done. It's been rescinded, and I am satisfied.
John Cornyn, Senator Cornyn, also said, well, there's nothing we could do to rein in the president when he said he likes the fund and wishes that he still exists, but the fact of the matter is it's dead, and that's all we could do under these circumstances. Was it all that they could do?
No, it's not all that they could do. Look, Senator Cornyn is a seasoned and experienced lawyer, a former judge and attorney general, and he served on this committee for many years. This is an agreement between two parties, and in order to amend that final settlement agreement, there has to be a binding modification to that agreement. So the crazy thing about all of this, Kasie, so I can put it in plain language for your viewers, is that President Trump sued his own government. He sued his own government for $10 billion. And then in an unprecedented settlement, there was an agreement to create a $1.8 billion weaponization fund, which I'll just call a slush fund, that President Trump is eager to use to pay for those who assaulted police at the Capitol on January 6th, or to pay for his own supporters who felt aggrieved by the legal actions of the previous administration. Another key piece of this that Senators Cornyn and Tillis and many of us on the committee also raised alarms about was this settlement gives President Trump, his family, and their businesses essentially carte blanche from future IRS audits or IRS liability. And if we know one thing about President Trump, it's that he's a tax cheat. So frankly, to have accepted at face value this signed statement by Todd Blanche, rather than demanding that this be either in statute or in a binding agreement to both parties, invites President Trump, who still says, as recently as this weekend, that he wants this weaponization fund and he wants this IRS get-out-of-jail-free card, as soon as Blanche is confirmed, to just go ahead and direct him to reverse it, to withdraw this piece of paper. So this is not a binding or permanent resolution by any stretch.
Yeah, Gavin Newsom, the California governor, said this: Congress is dead. MAGA has a king. Republicans killed the Constitution. If we don't win in November, democracy in America is over. Is he right?
That's a little more dramatic than I think is accurate. We still have a constitution. We will still have an election this fall. But his level of alarm is completely appropriate. Frankly, the Republicans in the Senate keep letting Trump get away with things over and over and over. And that's why we need a Democratic majority in the United States Senate.
So one question about the Democratic majority in the Senate is potentially going to begin to be answered tonight when Michigan Democrats go to the polls and choose between Abdul El-Sayed and Haley Stevens in the primary there. Now, you, of course, have endorsed Stevens, but the progressive base of the Democratic Party has a lot of energy behind it. Do you think that that energy is being channeled in a way that makes it more likely that Democrats are going to win the Senate or less?
Well, we'll see. Look, tonight's elections in many states will choose between different candidates. Of course, it's important that we've got folks in the Democratic Party among our primary electorate who are really ticked off about Donald Trump and what he's been doing. I think they're focusing their anger at the wrong target, at establishment Democrats, rather than at the Republicans who are letting Donald Trump get away with this stuff. In the minority, our ability to change the direction of the country is limited. But I understand that anger and why it's being focused at some candidates. I've known Haley Stevens for several years. I've never met Abdul El-Sayed, and so I'll be watching the outcome of tonight's primary election in Michigan as well as several other states. What matters to me most is that we elect in our primaries people who can win in the general.
Can El-Sayed win in the general?
We'll see whether that is I don't know. I'm not from Michigan. But at the end of the day, as you know, Kasie, I have campaigned across Michigan. I'll say this about the election that took me to Michigan to campaign with and for Alyssa Slotkin. Excuse me. It was achingly close. I think Senator Slotkin won by 14,000 votes, and it's the same opponent. This is a very purple state, and it will be a close and difficult election. So whoever wins the Democratic primary tonight has an important job, and that's to bring the party together and to win support to go into the fall elections. The governor of Michigan, the departing senator, my friend Gary Peters, the former senator Debbie Stabenow, all endorsed Haley Stevens. So it's largely because of her record fighting for the auto industry that I endorsed her. And we'll see what happens tonight in Michigan and in Minnesota and in Virginia and in several other key states.
Indeed, we will. Coons, thank you very much. Always appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you, Kasie.
All right.